All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. No need to confirm that my mic is working because I know I was just talking to Avi. That was great to have Avi in the room for a bit this morning. Good morning, Oliver. And yeah, it was good. Bonjour, Oli. That was very interesting to. It's just great to hear everybody sharing what it is that they're seeing and the way that they trade. And yeah, so give me 1 second here. I just need to do something over here. Share this screen. And there we go. All right, so the market is open. So whoever is trading the open, good luck. So a few things to know before. Everything is repetitive. Stock futures are rising after 2 days of losses. Everything is dependent and dependent and on what's going on in U.S. and Iran. Tesla earnings are due after the closing bell today. That's what we've got over here. Tesla 405. And SpaceX partners with AI coding startup Cursor. They were talking about buying it, I read yesterday. And then we've got Boeing, GE, AT&T with earnings. So if those are stocks that you guys look at, they had earnings this morning. As far as the economic calendar for today, I'm just going to hit F5 here. So crude oil inventories, that if you're trading CL, this could absolutely have an impact, and that's pretty much the only thing that's on the agenda at 10:30. So in 1 hour from now. Other than that, I do not have anything pinpointed of what worked and didn't work yesterday. I am going to go to my 30-minute chart and see that where MNQ is right now is where we rejected yesterday. So very interesting level. This is what I want to see. I want to see how it's going to react. Could not get above it on Friday of last week. Could not get above it on Tuesday. Rejected and then rejected hard from there. And that's where we are again. So that's what I want to see at the open. If there are people that shorted MNQ at the open here, or probably right before when you see that we are hitting on the 30-minute here, we're hitting resistance over here. It is below R4. I don't like trading right at the open, so that's why I'm not even thinking about getting in, but I want to see. Hopefully it bounces here and doesn't go straight down, because then I miss the entry. However, what I was saying yesterday, let's zoom into yesterday. The reason I got back into using fibs was because, let's look at MNQ here. My, actually on the 5-minute, I did get the entry candle that I like. This is absolutely my entry candle, but I was in the middle of talking and I missed it. But this is kangaroo tail rejection of the highs. I prefer if it takes out the highs of pre-market, but this was a strong rejection yesterday. What I was saying is that sometimes if you miss the entry, you can get in on the secondary entry, which was right around here. So this was the impulse move, the high of the day, where it started going down, hit a low, and then retraced right into the golden zone. That's where I would have zoomed into the 2-minute, and I would have seen whether there's an entry candle. And on this price action here, the way that I like to trade it, there wasn't necessarily an entry. However, I am testing out different things. And just for the amount of times that it happens, might not be a bad idea to put in a limit order as soon as the move is going down. It goes into the golden zone. I know some people trade like this, where as soon as it touches a 50, they'll put in an entry with a stop above the 61.8. And in this case, it would have worked again. So entry over here, stop 61.50, sorry, 61.80, aiming for 3R. And let's bring to 3 right over here. And it would have hit, oh, actually right on this wick here. It would have hit right here. So something I'm testing out. I don't know if anybody has any experience with this. If there's anything that that anybody has to add to that, that'd be great. Just want to see if anybody's saying anything in chat. MES, same story. Let's go to the 5-minute. Let's go to yesterday. Did not give me the entry signal that I like, but if we zoom into this area, if you had put in the fibs again from the impulse move down, this is where we really started selling, right? After the open, could not make it any higher. We started selling. This was the first low, and we see that we did not retrace into this area, into the 50. So then you move your fibs, and at this point right here, this is where it came and almost got to the 50. So this was not an entry. But what I was also looking at was this. On a 2-minute time frame, using the same tool, once, let's zoom in here. Let's remove this and redraw it. Look at once we started seeing that we are selling, if you put in the fibs from the top to the bottom here, look at that entry. Look at that, and how, you know, again, if it was a limit order, or if you're actually, if you're looking at it, I don't like the fact that entry would be below here and your stop would be way up here. But what if it was a limit order? As soon as it touches the 50, and that's something that's programmable, as soon as it touches the 50 with your stop above here, right? As soon as it touches the 50, whoops, wrong tool, short. As soon as it touches the 50, stop at the 61.8 right there, aiming for 3R. I mean, it's touched within minutes. But look at the potential for this trade. Obviously, yesterday was a massive day, but you know, let's go down to the lows. Let's bring it down to here. Let's say, there you go. That's a 45-hour trade. Obviously, they're not easy to grab them, but what I am working on right now is trying to figure out how we can make this mechanical. Actually programming an algo to be able to, and possibly something in TradingView. In TradingView, you can't program it to actually get in and out of positions, but you can in interactive brokers. So that is something that I'm working with a few other people as well, and we'll see what happens with that. So anyway, gold also had a very nice move yesterday, and the fibs on gold worked very well as well. So let's look at it from yesterday. Look at that zone right there. Let's zoom into here. So again, if you don't get the entry, this is where I was getting frustrated with when I started getting back into futures. I have a trade book that I am successful with equities, where after the open, it often puts in a kangaroo tail and shows a rejection, and that's my entry. Well, here it didn't give me the entry signal. And the only entry signal I have to go short here is a double top or a kangaroo tail rejection. But I didn't get the entry. So what do? Well, you put in the fibs. It's obvious that we're selling. This is the impulse after the open. This is the impulse sell. This is where we started buying, right? We hit support over here with a very tight double bottom and retraced back into this zone here, into the 50. And right at that zone, short. Again, if it was a limit order, it wouldn't have triggered here because it didn't touch the 50. But let's say you were looking at it and you actually got in because you saw that it was rejecting here with your stop at the 61.8, aiming for 3R. you achieve it right there, right? So it would have been on this candle right here that you would have achieved it. But then the move kept on going, right? And let's put it to the bottom. Obviously, this is hard to hold, this entire move. I don't know if I know Tarek was short yesterday on gold. I don't know if you held for longer, but it's obviously difficult to hold. But honestly, there's no, other than this pullback right here, there's no reason to be getting out of it. I mean, we are putting in lower highs and lower lows. So let's just leave this here. Actually, I'm not going to leave it here. I'm going to take it off. And over here, once we retested, let's say that's your entry, just for the fun of it, start a fib there and put it down to the bottom here. So the retrace over here did not go back to the 50. So again, that's not necessarily a reason to get out of your short. Right? So I don't know if anybody trades like this, but you know, seems interesting. So what's the market doing right now? What time is it? 9:41. Trump signals Iran talks could resume soon. Yes, and he was saying this morning that there's been an extension to the ceasefire that was supposed to end today, I believe, and it's been extended. Interesting thing that I'm reading over there, and I'll read what you're saying, is that they seem to not know who to deal with. There seems to be difficulties, you know, making plans with one group while another group is doing something different. So anyway, it's an incredibly complicated situation over there. I'm not even going to try to comment on it. Mediators in Pakistan and Iranian contacts are said to be pushing for a new round of negotiations within the next 36 to 72 hours, raising hopes of a breakthrough. Deadline has been extended to Friday, it looks like. Expect announcements like this every other hour, whipsawing prices, absolutely. And that's why I'm not even looking. I mean, I can look at it, but I'm not looking at getting into a trade on CL. This market makes it incredibly volatile, very, very difficult to trade. The way that I see it, it's pretty much gambling at this point. Incredible moves can happen, and you know, you can go long on a move and, you know, flip a coin and you might be lucky. But for me, I'm not even looking at putting fibs on CL because it's not respecting any levels right now. M2K was M2K interesting yesterday? Yeah, M2K from the top to the bottom, it came back and went into the 61.8, but then didn't go above it. So again, had this been a limit order, right? If you start at the beginning of the impulse, or in this point, it's the high of day, and whoops, my fibs are too far away. If you'd put it right over here, it did not give an entry. Over here, and I think we were talking about this. I think I was talking to Tony about this when this wick happened here. You see how from the top to the bottom at this point, it wicked right up and then started selling at this point. The same thing happened in MES. I believe it was MES or MNQ we were looking at. And then it just started selling and dumping from there. So if you can catch these moves, they're fantastic. I was saying that this candle right here, had it closed near the bottom, I would call it a trendy kangaroo, even though the trend down is still very new. On a 2-minute, that's about 12 minutes later. But this wick over here in naked Forex, sorry, brain fart there. This wick right here, that's called a trendy kangaroo. So it's meant to wick out some stops over here and gain liquidity for the further move down. So it's not something I actually get into positions with, but and my trade book is evolving with futures because I'm just getting back into it. I'm not even live yet. But this is absolutely a good, if you're in a position, for me, what I do with the trendy kangaroo is if I'm already short, this is a really good spot. Right after this break is a good spot to add. But moving forward might be a good spot to really get into a position. So anyway, that's my analysis for the first 15 minutes. If there's questions, comments, please don't hesitate. There we go. And I'm going to put things, actually, I'll just go back to my screen with the 6 stickers here. It's a 5 minute. So over here, I've got the Qs. The Qs spiked up at the open, found support over here. Now is coming back up. This will absolutely be an interesting area on Qs. Possibly the same thing on the SPY. Right, so let's look at the SPY here, pre-market highs over here. This is where I'm interested in starting to watch it, right? Anything in between in here, I'm not even paying attention. But over here could be a rejection for a short, and there seems to be a lot of volume coming in. So again, it could be a tweet, or it could be Trump posting something on Truth Social. Who knows? But this area, pre-market high, is where I would start looking. And then on ES, very similar chart to SPY. Sorry, this is MNQ over here. And they're all very similar. They're all have the same price action right now. And then gold. Gold was coming down, then found some buyers here yesterday where we've got yesterday's low, closed at PDC here. This was pre-market low. Again, this could be an interesting area, but for me, it would have to come up above the pre-market high here for me to really start paying attention. And then crude, like I said, not something I'm incredibly interested in, just because of it's so news driven right now. Yeah, questions, comments, go ahead. And if anybody's in any positions and you'd like me to put the chart up on screen, please let me know. Yeah, Omar, what you're saying about the fibs, you're absolutely correct. What I am working on is having what he was saying. If you don't have the chat open, I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20 with the fibs. You can put it anywhere and see it work. Absolutely, you're right. But for me, they're working. They're working, and I am getting into positions. They don't work all the time, but they work more often than they don't. And at the end of the day, if you have asymmetric risk, and if you make more when you win, like 3-to-1, then a 50%, 40% win rate can be profitable. And that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to make it so that it's actually something that is programmable, mechanical. Let's go back to today here. What I'd like to be able to do is to be able to put the fibs, let's say, at the high of day and look at them, because right now the high of day is here and the bottom is right here. This is very easy to program because the high of day after 9:30 a.m. is a known level. And because this is the low of day right now, you would start at the high and go to the low. And in this situation where the fibs are right now, you could go either way because we don't know if we're going up or down. So you could draw them from here to here as well. right? But right now we're just chopping in this zone. But later on, if the way that I do it, I wait till after 10 a.m. The first half hour is put in. I want to see which direction it broke in. So if it breaks the 30-minute candle, let's go to the 30-minute, or actually here, let's do two 15-minute candles. Right now, the first 15-minute has printed. The second 15-minute is just chopping inside the first 15. So if it breaks down towards the bottom, I will start my fib at the top, and I will end it wherever we find support. And my entry would be if it comes in and puts in the proper candle that I like to see. I like to see a 2-minute wick chop into this golden zone and then reject. I want to see selling. And if that happens, then I get in with a market order. I put in my stop above the wick, or if it's close to 61.8, I'll put it there, and I aim for 3R. Right, so that's the way that I've been doing it right now. But again, it's in sim, and it's just trying to iron out the rules for it to work. I also take break and retest, but the kangaroo tails and the double tops and bottoms, I have not seen them working in futures right now. Hamza, Iran says we're not coming. We might come, we're not sure. Decided how incredible how the market reacts to every little bit. He said, she said. Marks will go numb soon on Iran news. Yeah, not the market for trailing a stop. No, but definitely a market to have stops in. It's absolutely imperative to have stops. So interesting that we broke down below the wick of the first 15-minute, and we're just chopping around in here. So again, this just goes to prove why I prefer not to do anything in the first half hour, right? It's just and yesterday was very similar, right? The first 15 minutes and then the second 15 minutes was just inside this range. And then, I mean, we had to break above here and show rejection. That's where we really started selling, and we could see that the sellers were in control. Now with a 5-minute fair value gap, right now it feels like we're selling. But if we fill this, I mean, we could break out and possibly retest for a move higher. I'm just going to leave it on the 5s. Just chopping on MES. Gold, we're moving a little bit higher. Again, the way that I like to use the fibs, I want to see an impulse. The way that I'm using it right now when I'm doing it manually, I want to see an impulse move. I want to see, and within this range here, I don't expect much of one. But if we break out higher, then I would start my my fibs at the beginning of the buying. If we come up to R3 here and really start selling, and you can tell that we're putting in 2-minute and 1-minute fair value gaps, and we're really selling, that's where I like to start my fibs. But again, I'm just learning, practicing to see how they react to the futures market. Gold bounce off Tokyo low. Gold Tokyo low. Let's put the trading sessions here, right there. So that was Tokyo low. That was the wick right here. That it happened before at 9:15. Right? But I know that the futures market often gets started before the 9:30 New York Open. We can tell with volume here that we really started buying right at the low of Tokyo here. But the high of Tokyo is not too far off. right? So within this range here, I don't see anything worth taking. But if we break out above this range, or if we break out below this range, I'd be looking at a break and retest. Yeah, a lot of choppy, no movement in any direction right now. What are the equities doing? Let's get this out of here. Not much happening on Apple either. R has been absolutely incredible. I've been reading what's happening here, and definitely feels like manipulation to squeeze out these shorts here, because the company, Ava's budget is not worth what, well, who am I to say? It doesn't seem to be worth $825 a share. This is just a squeeze, and a squeeze of massive proportions. Yeah, 142 to 848. So just from this zone here, we were chopping around this zone here. Let's go to the daily. And this happened before here. This was COVID, or after COVID. 2021 happened over here. But just for the fun of it, let's measure this. I'll just do it with a shift key. It is up 863%. 860% from when was this? Say the bottom here. Let's say Friday, March 20th. So a month. That's incredible. I don't know if anybody caught the move up. Hopefully people aren't trying to short this thing, because there's zero liquidity, apparently. Anyway, not something that I trade at all. AMD, go back to the 5, and zoom. Here you go. So AMD in pre-market was having a hard time with pre-market high, and started selling. Just hit yesterday's high here as support. Tesla, this is all, if you're seeing that, that's all paper trading. Just working on the order template here, right? This, the template's over here to put it to 3 to 1. If I go here, risk 100, let's say you want to sell, it should put the order on the screen there, but that's what I've been struggling with. It's not there right now, right? The bracket order should be put in. Tony, if you're listening, this is what I'm talking about, how it doesn't work every time. And if somebody sees why, please let me know. Not looking at doing it with equities, but with MNQ trade. There you go. So this one's working. I like the $300, and then if I move it, then it changes the amount of contracts. So anyway, still playing around with TradingView. Also starting to look at volume profile candles. Looking forward to Zach's presentation tomorrow. If you guys are around tomorrow at 9, I believe it's 9 p.m. Go back to it in here. Announcements tomorrow. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. where he's going to be going into detail, part 2 of his presentation that he did last month. MNQ seems to be buying. MES as well. This will be an interesting area. It is 10 a.m. So if we reject at the highs here, that's what I'm looking for. Oops. I want to see what it does at this level. I don't know if anybody else is looking at this. MNQ is not quite at the highs. MES is. Right? This is where are we going to be finding buyers here? And sellers, obviously. Okay, so we've made it above the high. But not with a lot of momentum. $60. Let's try this. There you go. Risk. 3. Profits down there. That can be moved. So if I move this over there, so that's how the positioning tool works in TradingView, where you can put in a market order, risking. I'm just putting it at 333, just 3 hours, $1,000, and it's paper trading, so it's not real money. If I move my stop up a little bit higher, it leaves it around 333. It calculates it depending on, and you're not going to get exactly 333, but you can tell that it changed my contracts to 5. So if I were to bring my stop just above the wick, right? And if it were to close as a bearish kangaroo tail candle, the entry, you could just hit sell, and then you can move your profit target to, obviously mine would probably be around a pre-market low, right? Or calculate 3R, right? So 333, bring it to 1,000, right around there. So it just dipped down and then started buying again. I don't know if that worked. Yeah, there you go. So again, that's just a paper trade. Stop. I wanted it to be above there. I should have moved it before. So put the stop where it was there at 330. That's something that, I should have moved the stop above the wick here. It would have gone in with less than 12 contracts. But that is one of my entry triggers. There you go. But like I said, this is something that I'm just practicing with. The stop should have been above the wick for my strategy. Right? I'm just going to leave it there right now. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's not real money. It's just paper trading, just trying different tools, working on the order, the order template here. And I did not take this live. I will not take it live until everything is ironed out. And just doing it similarly to the way Avi's been trading. It's just, try out the strategy. And if it takes a couple months to figure it out and make sure that there are no more errors, then it's worth it. Right? Just to make it realistic, I'm going to bring the stop back up above here, above the wick. Again, the amount doesn't matter, as it is just a paper trade. Thank you, Tony. You were saying that the reason that this wasn't working was because I did not have project order for market orders. Why they don't do that globally is beyond me. I don't understand. Like, I have that setting, but thank you for sharing that. He was saying that in the window setting, trade setting, project order, it has to be done on every separate window. So that's why my order template wasn't showing up in Tesla earlier. So let's just get rid of that. Go back to MES. It wicked up, did not go above the wick of the kangaroo tail yet. Definitely doesn't look good. Yeah, every tab has their own settings. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's something that I'll have to make sure that eventually I plan on only trading MNQ and MES. Actually, it'll only be MES for what I'm backtesting right now, and Tony is helping. So thank you, Tony, with that stuff. Backtesting the strategy with the fibs. One of my students is saying that I can click apply to all and it'll put on every chart. Where is that? Right, extend price lines. And I'll go back to where I was on trade. Put in the market order. Go over here, trade settings, extend prices line across entire chart area. Where are you saying? Open a multi-chart page. Isn't this a multi-chart page? Or do you mean this? I'm assuming that's yes. Trade. I'm over here. Trade settings. Extend prices. Apply to all. Ah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Will. There you go. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Go back here. Close this. Close these and back to MES. Uh-oh. Which one is my actual? There you go. My actual position here. Oh, what was the high of this? The high of this candle was 71.58.75. And this is at 71.59. This will absolutely be stopped out. I am not moving it now. And I explained, right, when I was getting in here. Here, I'll go to another one. If I were, there you go. Did it get stopped out? No, not yet. Let's go to MNQ and do it again. So the way that I would do it and the way that I'm testing it out is to go with a market order like this. My risk at 333. It is a sell, so I want my stop to be above. I would want my stop to be above the wick right here. And if it were to close as a kangaroo tail, if it were to close near the bottom and then break that low, then I could just hit sell. But the stop right now should not be moving, but it is, right? So that's something else that I need to, right? I don't want the stop to move. It's something else I'm going to be working with Tony later or now, right? I want my stop to be at 21,918, let's say. Right? I want the stop to stay there. But I guess you move it right before hitting the sell button. So any other comments on that, please don't hesitate. There is no way that is not moving with the market order projection. Okay, that's okay. That's something that, you know, if it's going in your direction, that's something you have to put in your stop right before hitting the sell button. And then it'll recalculate for you. 9:15, another 10-15 minutes, and I'm going to be walking away. If there's anything that you guys are watching, please don't hesitate to let me know. Let's cancel this. Let's see if I got stopped out. Yes, I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Not yet. Chances are, if you've got a stop right here, from my experience, chances are it's going to wick pop up above here before it reverses, if it reverses, or it's going to pop up above. There's the stop, pop up above, and then continue moving up. And the possibility is a retest a little bit later on the long side. Right. So at this point, I'd be looking at putting an alert back over here, back where the, there you go, back where it broke out, for the possibility of it coming and retesting here for the continuation higher. I do not like that I have possible resistance right above at yesterday's high. But let's see how this plays out. Now that we have made a new high, we've broken out above the 30-minute candle, the first 30-minute candle. Then the fibs, the way that I'm doing them right now, would be drawn from the bottom right here to wherever whatever the high will be before it retraces. I would not be surprised if the high that we get on this move right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back here, because it's a measured move. Not a prediction. Don't know what's going to happen. But it would not surprise me if this move went all the way up here and then came down and retested the 50 for the further move up. And this right now, I can't set it yet. Yeah, and thank you for sharing, Tony, that the stop, if it were a limit order, if I went with my limit over here, I do not have it set up properly yet, but I would be able to set a stop, and I don't plan on using the limit order right now, but that's where you could put your stop loss and your take profit, and then it won't move. That's locked in. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Let's go to yesterday's high here. Just to project, is it, you know, this was the move. This is 50% of the move here where it broke out. The next measured move level brings it to close to yesterday's high. Gold is still chopping around the first 30-minute candle, right? We are still within that candle here. That's a no-go for me. Oil doesn't seem to be much happening. We are still, again, within that first 30-minute candle. If it breaks up above yesterday's high here, I'd like to be notified. So put that there. M2K, we've broken down below the first 30-minute candle. Therefore, my fibs would be drawn from top to bottom. Top to bottom. And it's getting into that fib zone right now. I'm not used to trading M2K. I don't, I've taken 1 or 2 trades on it, so I'm not familiar enough with the price action. But this is what I'd be looking at. The possibility, Hamza, thank you. The possibility of it rejecting this area for the further move down. So we'll look at this again in a minute. Somebody just said that MES at this level here for the possible rejection on a higher time frame, right? This is an area where we chopped around, we broke out, then we found support here with this long wick, and then just blew right by it. So this area right here might be interesting to Hamza. Friday close and yesterday's open, waiting for a setup. Great. Thank you for sharing. And go back to the 5, go back to M2K. So on a 2-minute, I'd like to see a wick get in there and then see a reaction. As in, we wicked into it, but then the candle closed green. So this is showing that the buyers are in control. Right next to it, we have an indecision candle. Right next to it, we have a hammer, which is bearish, but it's not the most bearish type of candle. So again, I'll put a level here. If it comes back into the zone, I'd want to start looking at it. Want to start looking at the possibility of really finding some sellers and really rejecting. And if that happens, then it would be a short at this level. Let's say over here, conservative stop above the 61.8. Aggressive stop would be above the wick of the previous candle. I think I'd probably leave it at 61.8 and aim for 3. And by aiming for 3, you're still within. You don't need to go below low of day. So that's a good signal here. But it needs to set up properly. SQQQ all-time low. I'm assuming that TQQQ is at an all-time high. But the Qs, let's go back to a 5. There you go. So yeah, Qs are making highs. Just right. Do I really want to start looking at a short MES or MNQ when the Qs are making these highs? No. But the pullback into the 50 would be interesting. And by the way, this fib is not properly drawn yet because I do not know what the high is. Anything else interesting to look at? Just for the fun of it, let's see if the Qs had given an entry. The Qs, the rectangle here. All right, we're chopping around here, this area. Let's move to the left. This is definitely an interesting area, right? It's the high of yesterday. The high of yesterday right here. Pre-market high was right here. So we broke out of this zone here, right? But did it give an entry? So it would have to come and retest this area. So this would be something where I'd set an alert. Probably right around here is where I'd want to start looking at it. Right? It could be reversing from R4, but the buyers seem to be in control. That is a big candle for trying to break out above here. So this could possibly print a break and retest. Right? We broke out of this level. Will it come back and retest and find some buyers that are interested in taking this higher? So that's something I'd be looking at on Qs. SPY is probably similar. SPY. There we go. That was pre-market high. No, SPY is not really similar because we're not even close to yesterday's high yet, or all-time high from last week. I believe this was all-time high. Yeah. So a bit of a mismatch there. And if the Qs keep on plugging away, a lot of people say, well, you know what? It's probably a good idea to get into the SPY because it will likely follow. Again, not trading advice, just what a lot of traders say, that if there's a mismatch between how one is reacting to the other, there's a likelihood that SPY will continue. And SPY, the breakout happened here. Will it come and retest in this area? So I'd be putting an alert here. I want to see. Right? Would I really want to short this here where it could just be retesting? Personally, no. Unless we saw that, you know, the sellers are getting in control and the dump is violent. But again, it could just be a liquidity sweep for the continuation going up. Wow, MNQ. Not given any possibility for the continuation for the pullback. Micron, all-time high. This market is incredible. MCL still chopping around. M2K. Yeah, never gave the entry, but that's what we were talking about. Again, what if you program this and you would have gotten here on the touch? As soon as it touched up and aimed for 3R. There's 3R. Right? With a limit order, that's what we're backtesting right now. To see how often does this happen. We're not doing it on M2K, but eventually, once we get the system perfected to backtest this, it happens more often than not. So I don't remember who was saying something about the fibs. Yes, when you set them arbitrarily, it's a coin toss. But when you set them at the high and the low, and you look at the retrace to the zone, this one happens more often than not. It's also a coin toss, but a coin toss that's 50% or more is, with asymmetric risk, can be very profitable. So that being said, that's a win. Yeah, Tony. Thanks for sharing. It is, this would have been a win. Again, the way that I'm doing it right now, and it will change. Right now, I'm waiting for a 2-minute wick to get in there. 2-minute, possibly a 1-minute wick to get in, and then obvious selling for me to be able to get in. But I'm really liking the way that that we're testing this, and just the possibility of getting in. That would give you a tighter entry, because if you were waiting for a bearish fair value gap to print, let's go to the 1-minute. Right, you'd be entering once this printed, you'd be entering over here. So once this fair value gap prints, then you're closing above it. You know, the only viable entry would be down here, and then your stop is way above here, and your 3 is all the way down there. Still could happen, but I like the idea of the limit order as soon as it touches. So anyway, anybody has insight on that, send me a DM, and we can practice it out and work it out together. All right, with that, it's 10:30. I'm going to walk away, 10:30, take a short break, and then if anybody else is on, I might jump back in. I don't know if Avi said he'd be coming back in, but that's it for me. And yeah, hopefully you guys are keeping it green. Sorry, goes off my alarm. And have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. Cheers. Merci, Ali.